So we're going to get going. If you are ready, make sure you've got something beneath you, so a mat, or if you're on carpet you should be fine, but make sure you're supported with the back. So you could probably do this one in bed as well, so if you're laying in bed and you can see me from there, then you can probably do it from your bed. So hug your knees in towards the chest and just start to rock side to side, releasing any tension into the lower back. And that's how I want you to start. I'm just going to check the comments on Facebook, making sure that everything is all good. Excellent. Okay. So again, rocking side to side. So you're just almost giving your back a little bit of a massage, rocking side to side. You might feel some tension into the lower back. You might just feel like this feels quite challenging just to have those knees in. You might feel the stretch into the glutes and the lower back from here. I always tend to start my yoga sessions with this because it's always quite nice to kind of be aware of how the hips feel, how the lower back feels, and it's a nice one to start with. Now we're going to find some flowing movements before holding some postures, because I know most of us have just got up and out of bed, so we don't want to kind of stretch tight muscles. So we're going to warm those muscles up a little bit more. So what I want you to do is just hold on to one knee and extend the other leg out and along the floor. And then I want you to switch sides. So we're not holding for too long, we're just extending one leg out and along the floor and then switching to the other side. And I just want you to find your own flow with this. As soon as that leg extends to where you can, you're bringing it back in and switching over to the other side. Breathing through. And then when you are ready, gradually bring those knees back in. So just do one more to each side, make sure you're nice and even. And then bring those knees back in, placing the hands onto the knees and drawing those circles out and around. So drawing the knees in towards the chest, pushing them out and around, warming up through those hip muscles, creating some circles around. You might feel like this is just grounding through the lower back into the mat. Maybe again you can feel a slight massage if you've got some knots or some tightness into the lower back. Let's change direction, so going round the other way, out and in. Again, often our hips are quite tight from sitting for long periods of the day. So if your hips and your hamstrings get tight and they stay quite tight, you haven't got a lot of flexibility there, then that can start to pull on your lower back and create some issues for your lower back. So it's not just the lower back we're thinking about today, it's the other areas that have an effect on the lower back. So again, take hold of your right knee and you're going to extend your left leg out and along the floor. And we're going to hold that position. Now if you feel like having that leg extended along the floor feels a little bit too much, you can slightly bend the knee. Again, I'm just going to move myself up so Instagram can see a little bit better. So again, we're just going to rock gently side to side with this one, maybe moving the knee in. Again, that leg that's extended, if that feels uncomfortable, just give it a slight bend into the knee. Especially this time of the morning when our muscles are tight, we haven't been kind of walking around in the day, or literally just got up and out of bed. So just add some gentle movement to warm up the muscles, massage through the lower back and create some movement. Everyone's going to feel differently, everyone's going to have a different range of movement, so don't feel like, listen to your own body, like listen to what your body's saying. If again your leg can extend all the way out, if you can bring the knee all the way in, then you can do that if you feel comfortable to do that. You might have a really tight range of movement and you might not even be able to bring that knee in very far. So just go to where you feel comfortable. Let's switch sides. So again, extending the leg out and along the floor, adding some movement side to side, just gently moving the knee in and out, finding your own movement. So always nice to bring it back to some yoga and some stretch. We don't stretch often enough And even with the kind of workouts that we do, the stretch at the end of most workouts is really quite small compared to how much you've worked the muscles. So every week it's always really important to, if you can, fit in a yoga or a stretch session to lengthen out those muscles. And we do that with the Balanced Body timetable in Sweet Petite Fitness on Demand every day. There's something different which creates a balanced mind and body. So we've got cardio, we've got toning, we've got stretch and yoga, we've got Pilates. So bring those knees in again, and let's place the feet down onto the floor this time, taking the arms wide and taking your feet wide to the edges of the mat. And I want you to allow the weight of the legs to do the work with this one. So we're going to go from one side to the other, lifting the hip, just gently allowing those legs just to drop over to one side, allowing the upper back to stay relaxed into the mat. Pull the belly button in a little bit towards the spine. And again, just create some nice, easy movement from one side to the other. Breathing through. Again, gently massaging into that lower back. Maybe feeling a stretch to the side of the lower back and the hip. Finding some easy movements. Nothing too intense. So this one's a really nice one that, you may not even feel anything too much in terms of stretch and release, but once you've done a few of these, you'll see that you've released quite a bit from the back. Let's do one more to each side. Breathing, allowing everything to move freely. Try not to force or pushing anything. Think about breathing and relaxing into each movement. So when you are ready, coming through center, bringing those knees back in towards the chest. This time, bringing your right knee in, again extending your left leg out along the floor. We're going to take the right arm out to the right side. With your left hand, you're going to gently guide the leg over and across. Now try and relax the shoulder blade. You can lift the hip, lift the waist, create that rotation, and again, all the way across the lower back, the outer thigh, the outer hip. You might feel that stretch and that release. Now, if this is too much, you can, if you want to, place some cushions on this side and stack the knee on top of some cushions. And that way you can kind of relax into it a little bit more. Again, we're not pulling, we're just gently guiding that rotation. Palm can be up here so you're not tensing through the upper body. You can look towards your hand, take a breath. Really good for your lower back. And the rotation of your spine and the waist. Breathe through. Gradually come back into the middle. We're going to switch sides. So again, bringing the left leg in, extending your right leg. The left arm reaches out to the side. And then we're bringing the leg over and across. Finding that rotation. Remember, each side can feel really different. So try and breathe, relax, release. Try and soften into that rotation. Again, you can always turn the head towards the hand. Finish off that rotation through the spine. Gradually ease yourself out, bringing yourself up, hugging your knees in towards the chest. Now take your time, bring yourself up to a seated position. So again, there's no rush, just bringing yourself up. We're going to extend your legs out in front of you, pull the toes towards your shins. So we're going to stretch and lengthen through the hamstrings because the hamstrings have a really big effect on how your lower back feels. So pull the toes towards the shins. If you need a slight bend into your knees, then feel free to. If you've got your legs straight, that's good, but try not to lock out the knees. Try not to really straighten and lock out. Have a slight buoyancy in the knees. Take a breath, arms come all the way up, find the length, and then we're leading with the chest. So the chest goes towards the thighs, we're reaching down to where you can, and then I want you to release the arms. So we're not going to round through, not just yet. I want you to keep the length and just hinge from your hips to feel the stretch all the way down the back of the legs. So we're about on 10 minutes now, but just going to finish with a few more postures to finish off this release. So take a deep breath in. I want you to lengthen through the crown of the head, breathe, and then I want you to again ease into it a little bit more, and then you can start to tuck your chin, round through, relax over to where you can, and again you might feel it all the way up through the lower back, down the back of the legs. So you might feel it in both places, you might feel it in one or the other. Try and breathe, relax, release. Again, still leading with the chest over the legs. Again, you might be here, you might be all the way out. So just go to where you can. Take one more deep breath in and out. And then gradually release, bringing yourself up. Just one more, bend the knees, bringing those knees in. Give yourself a hug. So hug the knees, tuck your chin, and almost imagine you're just gently pressing the spine out behind you, tucking your chin, tucking your tailbone. Take a deep breath and breathe into those back muscles. So take that breath in between each vertebrae. Pull the shoulder blades apart. Give yourself a hug. And then let's just release, bringing those arms and just lift the ribs. Gently push the ribs up towards the ceiling. Squeeze your shoulder blades in towards each other and stretch through. And then you are done. Again, you might want to give yourself just one final hug, stretching in and then releasing. And give yourself a round of applause. Really nice one just to release everything into the lower back, a little bit for the upper back there, and those hamstrings and hips as well. So really good sequence. If you want to come back to that one, just so you know that you've released that tension, especially if you struggle with that area, you know those areas are quite tight. Lower back, hips and hamstrings. So if you know any of those areas are tight, they can have an effect on each other. So this one, it's 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes is a really good one to come back to. So make sure you kind of save it or come back to it later and give it another go.